Welcome to this explainer covering the April 20th TUSD Board meeting. We are diving straight into a steady, factual overview of the decisions that directly impact your work, your rights, and of course, your compensation. We've got a packed agenda today, structured around the absolute most pressing issues for our classified, certificated, and confidential staff. We'll be looking at labor negotiations, that incredibly stressful W-2 data security breach, staff workload concerns, a brand new bond feasibility study, and finally, community impact.
Let's jump right into Section 1, labor negotiations and compensation updates. Collective bargaining was really the focal point of public comments, especially with stalled negotiations and honestly mounting financial pressures on staff. Right now, the district's proposal sits at a 2.23% retroactive pay increase plus a $1,500 healthcare offset. But here is the catch. If an agreement isn't locked in before July 1st, employees are looking at a looming risk of a $2,000 out-of-pocket increase for healthcare. That stark contrast really puts a spotlight on just how urgent it is to close out the 2025-2026 negotiations.
The real focus here is the human impact. Educators and staff took to the podium to share some pretty severe concerns over inflation, soaring healthcare costs, and just feeling undervalued overall. To put it in perspective, one representative shared, "My healthcare went up by $700 every month. Teachers remain the most poorly compensated educators among comparable nearby districts. It's a sobering reminder of how these bargaining delays actually affect retention and daily life."
At the same time, SEIU Local 99 representatives impartially laid out the frustrations of their classified members regarding the bargaining process. They raised clear grievances about TUSD's refusal to close out the 25-26 agreement without a full successor contract already in place. They also alleged some regressive bargaining tactics regarding operational changes and leaves of absence. And the ripple effect? It's actively delaying retro checks and healthcare offsets for their members, even while other units have already seen theirs.
Moving on to Section 2, let's talk about the W-2 data security breach.
Now, this data breach has understandably been a massive source of stress for so many district employees, worrying about their personal identities and financial security. When you look at the timeline, there's a really frustrating communication delay. The county office drafted a warning letter on March 27th, but staff didn't actually start receiving IRS fraud notices for unfiled tax returns until April 3rd. And it took until April 13th, only after a principal independently reported multiple incidents among their staff, for the district to fully escalate the issue.
Understandably, staff are asking the district to step up. They respectfully requested personalized, transparent communication rather than the district just relying on the county office to handle it. One educator summed it up perfectly, saying, "We truly need a guarantee of protection from you. Our financial well-being, credit, and identity protection should be an important return on investment." They're essentially asking district leadership to lead the charge in protecting their credit and rebuilding that trust deficit.
Okay, let's look at Section 3, staff workload and recent appointments.
When we examine staffing and workload, the contrast in districts' ratios is actually pretty shocking. The American School Counselor Association recommends a ratio of 250 students to every one counselor. But right now, TUSD high school counselors are managing caseloads of nearly 500 students to one counselor. Basically, double the recommendation. A workload like that makes it incredibly difficult for them to provide the proactive college planning and mental health support our students need.
The board also took several actions regarding staffing. Out in public, there was a great celebration for the appointment of Lori Chandley as the new principal of Victor Elementary. But behind closed doors, in closed session, the board approved several personnel changes that included 3 employee dismissals or immediate suspensions without pay, and they also rejected multiple tort claims. Let's shift gears to Section 4, the District Bond Feasibility Study. Looking at facilities, the board reviewed a feasibility study for a potential $388 million bond measure this coming November. And polling shows an encouraging 65% initial support from voters, which is comfortably above that 55% threshold needed to pass. If it does pass at the highest proposed tier, we're talking about roughly $189 a year in property taxes for the median homeowner.
But here is a critical and honestly surprising data point from the study. 73% of TUSD classrooms and learning spaces currently do not have heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. That means a massive portion of our classified maintenance staff, teachers, and students are operating daily in environments completely without modern climate control.
For our workforce, passing this bond could mean some very significant workplace safety improvements.
The community has identified top priorities, which include replacing aging roofs and plumbing, installing that desperately needed modern HVAC, bringing older facilities up to current health and building codes, and removing hazardous materials. It is fundamentally about ensuring a safe, functional, and healthy working environment for every single classified and certificated employee in the district.
Finally, Section 5, Community Impact and Student Success. It's always great to see how the daily, tireless efforts of our staff translate into tangible student success. The Torrance Refinery Company just donated a massive $77,000 to sponsor the Girls in STEAM Cardboard Regatta and the statewide Invention Convention. This money directly supports our students in science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, providing incredible hands-on learning opportunities that are facilitated every day by our dedicated staff.
And in a really wonderful moment of union-aware recognition, a public comment prompted the board to officially amend a resolution. Instead of just calling it Bus Drivers Day, they officially designated April 28th as School Bus Operators Day. This simple distinction powerfully honors the vital, multifaceted roles these classified professionals play. After all, they are the very first people to greet and safely transport our students every single day.
We'll leave you with this thought to mull over. As we celebrate these district wins and tremendous student achievements, how exactly will leadership address the crucial workforce needs raised tonight? Because ensuring that every classified, certificated, and confidential employee is protected, fairly compensated, and deeply valued is ultimately what sustains this district's success. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will catch you next time.